All right. Hello, everyone. This is Kyra Bobinet, and I am going to be walking you through the Be a Weight Loss Boss webinar. And happy Monday to everybody. I hope that you are having a wonderful start of your week. So to start, I'm going to share a presentation with you. So people are rolling in, but I'm going to get started. And what I want to start with today is kind of my background. Because I grew up in Oklahoma, and my mom, my history is that my mother would treat us to a treat every Sunday after church, because at the time we were living off of $11,000 a year, and we didn't have any money. And so after church every Sunday, she would take us to McDonald's. So that was my treat for food. And, that was something I grew up with, so that the first time I got a job in high school, I was at the drive-through, whether it's McDonald's, Taco Bell, Hardee's, you name it. I was an addict to fast food. And I remember sitting in the drive-through thinking, why am I here? I feel so out of control. I feel like I can't help myself from going through the drive-through. And all I wanted in that moment was for somebody to create a new restaurant for me, that all I had to do was drive through that restaurant instead of the other restaurants, and I would be safe. I would be in control, and I would be able to eat something healthy. And I didn't have the self-control that I wanted. I felt out of control, and all of the things that go with that, the shame, the sort of self-hatred, self-loathing. And, that was a really difficult time. I was very depressed and, struggled with my weight. Flash forward. And today I can say honestly that I feel in control. And that doesn't mean that I don't relapse constantly. For example, I was with my dad a couple weeks ago over the weekend, and he has cancer. And so it was a very stressful time, and I really, really went out of control with my eating. But being a weight loss boss is all about knowing these 3 secrets. And I'm going to share 3 secrets with you that freed me, and also everybody else that I've seen, and that I know will give you renewed hope for being able to free yourself. And by the end of this, I want you to be able to be in control in a new way that you never thought you could. And, really kind of dispel all of the disbelief or frustration or past history, because all of us have tried things and that worked for a little while, but maybe didn't work after a little while. So the next thing is your host. So that's me, Kyra Bobinet, and you can call me Kyra or Dr. Kyra. And Jay Berman, we're going to be your hosts for today. And I'm going to introduce Jay a little bit later on, but I'm going to start with myself. So all of us have a calling. My calling is to free myself and others from the suffering that we feel when we feel out of control of the things we want to be able to do. So we want to be able to do A, but we ended up doing B. And that's kind of my special calling. And so I'm all about freedom. There's a lot of confusion out there with weight loss. And, one of the things that we are all facing is that we have this giant industry that takes our money and then feeds off of our failure, because the more that we fail, the more money they get. And we want to change all that. We want to free ourselves from that trap and to really cut through the confusion, because there's like a million things you could do every day, and you don't know what to choose. It's very confusing, and it's hard to know what's right for me. And so, all of us are facing this issue all the time. So what we did is we worked with Walmart and, studied thousands of people who had actually succeeded in changing their lifestyle and changing their weight and their health as a result, and the way that they eat in particular. And through these stories, we looked and asked ourselves, what are the common threads? What's what are the things that that's true for everybody? Because what's going to work for me isn't going to work for you, isn't going to work for Joe or Sally or Maria or anything like that. What is going to work at the global scale? What's the common denominator of all success? And then we looked at the science, and this includes nutrition science, this includes behavior change science and behavioral science and weight loss science, diabetes, other diseases, those kinds of things. And we put all that together. And basically today, I'm gonna show you that it's only lifestyle change that's going to last, and that those changes need to be really tiny and small to begin with, and so that you can get, you know, some confidence and some grip on the overall process for you. So there's 3 top secrets that we found in studying these thousands of success stories and all of this science. You know, these are the 3 top things. And again, I want you to be able to use these from this time forward to clarify any questions you have about what's right for you, and to be in charge and in control of what you are doing, you know, around your weight, your health, whatever change you want to make. Before I go into that, I want to tell you about a free program that we are going to test out with 100 people. And you know how big Walmart is, you know how big the general population is in the United States. We only have 100 slots. So I wanted to let you know and plant the seed of, if you like these ideas and you want to practice them with us in a practice setting, that's what this program is. And it's free, and it also gives you a little money for giving us your experience over some surveys. So be thinking about that as you go. No pressure whatsoever. It's just an opportunity, but there's only a few opportunities. So I wanted to let you know that ahead of time. So the number 1 secret that we found in all of the successful people who had lost a lot of weight and kept it off long term is that they shared the same mindset. So this was really shocking to me, because, you know, sometimes it's about, you know, did you find the right plan for you? Did you, you know, a lot of them were doing Weight Watchers, or were doing Zumba, or were doing their own, you know, thing, or MyFitnessPal, or, you know, all kinds of programs and sorts of things. And the one thing that they all shared was that when that didn't work, they found their next thing, right? So, you know, Weight Watchers is great for a while, and then somebody would fall off, and that might mean that they need to have a new thing, or it might mean that they might try it again, you know, without feeling bad about dropping off. So either of those things was true, and it all pointed to the same mindset. And the mindset was about, you know, thinking that it's not over for you. Now, here's a scary word, the habenula. It's just a part of your brain. This is just a part of your brain, but it's a very interesting part of your brain, because it basically detects failure. It's like an alarm system for failure. So if I think I failed, like with my dad, when I was sitting with him and I overate for days and days, if I think that that's a failure, then what this part of my brain does is it kills my motivation to try again. And then I feel shame, guilt, and frustration. So if you've ever been there, if you've ever felt that you failed at something, whether it was Weight Watchers or Zumba or some diet you did or something you meant to change, that is what happened to you. That's what happened in your brain, is that it killed your motivation. That thought of, I failed, I didn't do it right, I didn't do what I should do. Those kinds of thoughts are the thing that kills your motivation to try again. So if you wonder, why can't I get myself to do this? That's why. So now that you know why, you can do something about it. And that's the most empowering thing in the world, is to set yourself free from this habenula, this part of your brain that's basically keeping you from having motivation, trying something else, not blaming yourself, and being free of those negative emotions, which we find to be the biggest problem. These are some phrases that people say to themselves who think like this, and this mindset. It's not a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, not a diet. Slow and steady wins. You know, if I mess up, tomorrow's another day. Start over again. I just tweak it until it works. We hear that a lot. I just ask, what do I want to try next? So leaning forward into what's next for me, or I'm not going back. Any of these phrases or things, we found a million different, for every person, they have their own phrase, right? It's not the phrase that matters. You can borrow somebody else's if it works for you, but it's what speaks to you that matters. It's having that mindset around that it's not over for you, that you haven't failed, that, there's some new option. For example, when your sweater goes out of style, you don't blame yourself as a bad person for that happening. You just go and get a new sweater, right? So it's really, really important to, treat it like that. Treat it like a new sweater instead of, I'm bad for not doing well at Weight Watchers or some other diet that I'm trying. And basically, here's the rule. Where our mind goes, the weight follows. So if you want to change your weight, you have to change your mind first. You have to do a different way of thinking. And that's what we're going to practice. The second secret that we found across all of the successful people is that they practice. Whether or not they set a goal, what they do is they just put a little bit of effort every day, or if they relapse a couple of days, they get back on the horse and they start practicing again. It's just about trying. It's just about constantly trying what works for you, and figuring it out and trying what's interesting to you and trying it on and trying it on and trying it on. And of course, you might think, well, what do I practice? Part of it is the million different things I could practice. I don't know if I want to practice them. It's okay to just start with something, And what we found is that the number one reason why people don't change the way they want to is that they just stop practicing. They stop trying. And it's very, very simple. So, if you've got nothing else out of this, just say, I'm just going to keep trying. That's all I need to do. The other thing that people did when they practiced is that they kept it simple. They identified what they want to practice. They identified how they want to practice it. Do they want to practice it in the morning? Do they want to do it at work at lunch? Do they want to, change when they go home to not go through the drive-through fast food? And then they also knew and identified why they wanted to practice it. So what's their motivator? What's their mantra? What's the thing their phrase that keeps them going? What's their prayer? All those kinds of things. The other thing that they did in practicing was setting up a practice area. So just like if you were going to practice a musical instrument or practice reading or anything like that, you have to have a space in which that happens. And so sometimes the how of how you practice is to set up your space, or to shop differently, or to set up your refrigerator, or those kinds of things. And so, don't be afraid of reorganizing things. There is a bunch of science actually behind this, which is that if you're a person who keeps cereal or other carbs, bread in my family, on the counter, you're likely to be, that's associated with being, anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds heavier than people who remove that stuff from the counter and have that down hidden in a hard place to reach, or in the fridge or in the freezer, or places where it's not in your mind, it's not in your line of sight. The third secret is to iterate. And this is another weird word, okay? We're going to talk about this in a second. But iteration just means, to iterate means that if on Friday you go through the drive-through and you're going to pick the fries over the apple, then basically Monday you can just iterate and figure out, how can I get myself to choose the apple instead, today. So again, that mindset lets you to forgive yourself and to, understand that this is a process and this is the long haul. But this secret is all about, if this doesn't work for me, let me tweak it. If this sweater doesn't fit me, let me find another one. If this, program isn't working for me, I probably need to either try a different thing or adjust it in some way. And so all of these successful people had this in common, where if they ran up against an obstacle, they would basically iterate or adjust or tweak or experiment or play with or monkey around with, whatever your word is, to change it. And this was something that led to a test and learn. So test and learn is something used in retail, like a Walmart, setting, or other banks do this a lot, where instead of going, all in on something, you just have the mentality of, I'm going to try this little thing as an experiment and see what happens. So it looks kind of like this. On the left side, you might say, oh, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to eat more vegetables. I'm going to add more vegetables. And then you go and buy all the vegetables. And maybe what happens is that, and it's happened to me many times, they go bad in the fridge. And so it's a waste of money. So that was maybe a very bad try for you right now, what you were trying. But, maybe you try to drink water. Maybe you have a new idea. I'll drink water and that'll make me feel more full. Or I have a soda issue, and so I'm going to replace soda with water. And maybe that works a little bit better, so that's your test and learn for that time. And then maybe you have a habit of eating out during lunch. So the best thing that you come up with at that point is to pack your lunch and to take it with you. And that works even better. So again, you're just kind of iterating or testing and learning throughout the process. And that's all that needs to happen. For example, when I relapsed with my dad, and I was stressed and I ate a bunch of food, then basically I just, reset on, what do I need to do? I need to do something that is easier for me to try for this week, just to get back on the horse again and continue going. Because all that matters is that you stay in effort of some kind, in some way. Even the tiniest bit of effort is going to keep the ball rolling for you. And the more we get stuck, blaming ourselves or thinking that we did something bad, the longer it takes to get back into our effort. So just try anything. It's like jump starting a battery that's dead in your car. Try anything to get the juices flowing again, and then you can start to get some momentum and some motivation. So let me talk about Fresh Try. So Fresh Try was made in conjunction with Walmart, in partnership with Walmart, based on all these stories of Walmart associates and thousands of other people who had changed their behavior, who had changed their eating habits, who had changed their weight. And it's a healthy habit app that is free in the app stores, whether you have Google Play or Apple, it's in both stores. And it makes it easy in this practice way. It's to practice and iterate, again, test and learn on things that work for you. And it also, takes all of the science and vets it so that anything that is in that app in Fresh Try is proven to work for real people who have, just as many financial or time or stress issues as you might, right? As we all do. And, are under very, very big constraints, right? So if it can work for them, it can work for you. And also is proven by science to actually work for the body. So there's nothing in there that's some crazy, concoction that's going to hurt you or hurt your body. It's all very scientifically and real life proven by real people stuff. So it helps to take this whole world of millions of things you could do and just create, again, that very healthy restaurant that you just order off that menu and you'll be fine. So I would encourage you to give it a try. This, again, is a very different method. It's going to sort of passively, without you even knowing it somewhat, train your mindset to think like this, to think in this kind of lifestyle way. I don't want anybody to diet ever again. This is something that is very natural. Again, the more you have this mindset, that's where your weight is going to go. And so staying in effort using this as a tool is a really good option. So now I want to introduce you to the program that we're going to offer. And this is so that was the 3 secrets, mindset, practice, and iteration, or test and learn. And this is how we're going to test that out. So again, 100 people can receive a free program. And this is not some gimmick. This is literally just to try it out and to help you out. Because again, I want to free you from the weight loss industry, which is going to charge you a ton of money to do something which is quite natural for your brain and that you can do on your own, that you can do for yourself. And again, with the right guides, you can do this. So this is what we want to give you. So we want to give you a weight loss practice. And this is going to be basically valued at a $400 program, but you're going to get it for free. Or I should say 100 people get it for free. And that this is an 8-week long process. We'll be doing 8 weekly sessions. And that's with Jay Berman, our professional clinical dietitian. And then for each of the surveys that you take, so you're going to give us your information, not your information, you're going to give us your experience. You're going to be anonymous, but you will give us how it's working for you. And that's going to be, a total of $75 that we will pay you in gift cards just for the kindness of, sharing your experience with us so that we can learn how to do this better for other people. We're all in this together. This is a public health effort. So the more that you experience this and go through this, the more your experience will help other people, both to get them out of shame, to get them, to hope, and to empower them, more importantly, to take control over themselves in the way that you're going to through this program. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to Jay Berman. Jay, are you there? You have your mute on. Can you unmute yourself? So Jay is a dietitian by trade, which means that she's an expert in food and in nutrition, and she can help people to do that. I'm going to unmute you. I think I need to unmute you. Okay, there you go. Jay, are you with us now?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, great. So Jay, maybe say something about yourself and why you're a part of this program.
Hi, everyone. I'm just so happy to work with all of you and just happy to be here. I've helped a lot of people lose weight in my career, and those who've been the most successful are those who've changed their mindset and those who realize that it's not about a diet or a restriction, but about really changing how you think through food and you make decisions that work for you. And it's just, it's so fun to work with people and see them be successful and not struggle. And when I met Kyra and her team, it was just such a pleasure because they get it. And what they're doing is just revolutionizing how to think about food in a different way and how to think about healthy eating in a different way. So I'm honored to be here and so excited to work with all of you. I'll be leading the weekly sessions, and we'll connect so we can learn about all the things that Kyra's been talking about. So how to practice, how to test and learn, and how to support your mindset. So very excited to work with you all over the next 8 weeks.
Great. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate that. So back to our presentation. So this is the email. So I said that we only have 100 spots. If you want to be part of that program, I want you to, and again, it's free. There's no obligation. This is strictly a giving thing. This is strictly a compassion thing for you to help you practice these 3 secrets. You can send an email to this email right now, take a screenshot or whatever, and the first 100 people who do that can get in the program. Now, as you know, Walmart's really huge, and there's a lot of people on this webinar. There's also a lot of people on the later webinar, and then this is a public program, so it's going to be open to the public, which means that the gift cards are not a problem for Walmart folks because it's for the United States. But again, it's going to fill up fast. So if you are interested, I wanted to give you this email to be able to express your interest, and then you'll also get a couple of reminders if you do forget afterwards. So what you're going to do in return, so all we want is your story to help other people. So in this free program, we want you to give your story, your testimony of what worked for you and how it went for you, so that you can inspire other people. And this doesn't have to be ascribed to your name. You can be completely anonymous. You can give us your initials. You can give us your first name and last initial, whatever is comfortable for you. This is not about you having to do anything, but it is a gift to others and a generosity to others. And then also we have 3 surveys to ask you about your experience. You'll need to weigh yourself before you take the survey. So you need to find a weight scale either at a Walmart store or at home or at a gym or something like that. And then in return, you'll get gift cards. The first one's $10. The second one, I think, is $20. And then the third one is, $60, something like that. Anyway, it totals up to be $75. So forgive me if I got the numbers wrong, but the total is right. So let's talk about Fresh Try. So, this is how you're going to use it. You're going to basically start with picking a what, as I talked about with practice. For all those successful people, they all practiced what, how, and why, they were going to practice. And the first layer is what do you want to focus on? Here is a menu. Again, that safe menu that I talked about before, where all you have to do is pick from the menu and you'll be safe. That everything on the menu has been vetted has worked for real people and has been proven by science. So you're in a safe zone there. The next thing you're going to do on top of that is to build within that. So, for example, if I say reduce sugar here, then I can pick how I'm going to practice reduce sugar. And there's many ways to practice reduce sugar. Some work for others, some don't work for you. It's just kind of whatever you're in the mood for. And there might be something different, every week or a different time of year. So you just go with your heart, go with what you feel attracted to, that you think you can get yourself to do. And then, hey, if it doesn't happen, then, it's no blame on yourself. Again, you just iterate or you test and learn each of these things or one of these things. On top of that, there is a bunch of ideas that come from other people. So these are additional, things on the back of the card that I showed you, where you can have other menus. So under the reduced sugar, there might be even more ideas by, more variations on the idea from common everyday people. So now I'm going to demo the app, and you'll get to see what I do on Fresh Try. And I actually use it every single day, believe it or not. It is my go-to. And so here it is on my home screen. And right now what I'm doing this week is I'm trying to stop eating when I'm 75% full. Now, this is a really difficult one for me. I really struggle with portion control type things. So if I go to, that's my how. If I go all the way to the left and I tap what, I am in the area of habits around eating healthy portions. And I have found that over the weeks and weeks that I have been doing tries, like trying these things, which is what, why, and how, that I have the most struggle with portion control. For me, adding vegetables, I've got that down as a strong habit at this point. But for me, portion control is difficult. And why? It's because as a kid, we had seconds and thirds. If you didn't have thirds, grandma would be really mad at you because you were insulting her for not having her food. So it was a big pressure thing for me to eat a lot of food. And so I'm a volume eater, I would say. And so for me, portion control is a very advanced and difficult thing to do. So there's my what, and then my why I picked this week to challenge myself, because I did an easier one last week for myself. And this week I'm challenging myself. So all you do is when you do the thing, when you do eat 75% full, then these triangles are here for you to tap. So you can see I'm halfway through the week for myself for when I started. And I would just tap this triangle to say that I did it. And that gives me the credit that I deserve for when I actually do something. And that is the one I'm working on now. So you can see at the very top, that's the one I'm working on now. This is a list of all the ones I've done over the weeks. You can see I really truly use this every single day. And the reason why I use it every single day is that it helps me to train my mindset. And it also helps me to practice. And it also helps me to iterate or test and learn on ones that don't work for me. So for example, this one here, where you see the blue that is not revealed, it's a little picture with a lot of teal on it, a lot of blue on it. That one didn't work. It didn't fly that week. And that was okay, because I know not to blame myself and not to feel bad about it. So that's Fresh Try. And again, you can find it in the store, in the Apple Store, in the Google Play Store for free. It is completely free for everyone. And you can share that with your family members or whoever you think might benefit from this way of doing things. And again, you don't have to pay a lot of money to lose weight or to get what you want or to change your life in the way that you want. All you have to do is, follow these 3 secrets. With or without the program that we're offering, I want you to follow those secrets from now forward, which is mindset, and then practice, staying in practice. And then number 3 is, if you run into a relapse, if you run into boredom, if you run into it's just not happening this time, then you iterate or you test and learn something else without judgment, without shame, without bad feelings. Just move on, dust your sandals off, and keep walking. So I hope that was really helpful to you. Again, my goal in life is to help millions of people to be free of this unnecessary suffering that we have when we can't get ourselves to do the thing that we want to do. And so this is your way out. This little recipe of these 3 secrets is the way, regardless of what program you're doing. If you're doing a diet, no worries, but apply these 3 secrets to that. And I hope you sign up for our program, and that we can practice that together, and we can learn, from you. And thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you.